happiest place on earth and entertaining people even while we're shut in for COVID. All right. So these are the different companies Disney owns, not all of them, but many of them. Disney Cruise Line obviously is not doing so good. Disney Streaming, on the other hand, is doing great. Okay, so these are the strengths, the weaknesses, opportunities. We're going to talk about Disney's, use them as an example. So Disney has a lot of differentiated services, which means that they have services all over the board, do all kinds of different things. Disney has the experience, one of the first theme parks, one of the first in entertainment. So they have the long-lasting experience. Continued improvements. Disney is always improving themselves. They're a great company that always does that. And original characters. What's the latest one? The princesses, the ice princesses. My little niece loves those. And differentiated offers. So that means that they're starting to offer their services all over the world now. They've got not just a theme park here in Anaheim and in Florida, but throughout the world now. Okay, what are some of the weaknesses? You guys can chime in instead of sleeping. Let's name out some of them. Go ahead. Feel free to talk. Joey, what do you got going on over there? What do you think some of the weaknesses Disney might have? Giuseppe, you got any ideas?
I have it here. Wasn't there like a whole sexual allegation fallout with a couple of individuals? So it's like maybe a lack of professionalism in leadership.
Well, that wouldn't necessarily be a weakness within their SWOT analysis. No, that would be what we're going to talk about in a little bit about the value chain and the operations.
I would say, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I think that Disneyland is really big, as in like they have a lot of hotel chains, and they also have like a lot of, what is the thing that's like next door to it, like Disney Downtown, and they have, I don't know, it's just really big. And then I think it might be difficult for centralized management to like do their thing if, you know, it's so spread out.
Yeah. Okay. So in the chat, they talked about, let me see here, high amounts of training their employees. That wouldn't necessarily be a weakness. That's actually a strength. They're very, very good about training their employees. They're also very, very good about instilling that the Disney type of culture. Okay. Growing competition. There's still not too many competitors. You know, they're maybe in television and some of their other industries, they have a lot of competitors. But as far as theme parks go, there's really nobody that competes with them on the same level.
I would say that their brand, since it's always constantly improving and they have that reputation, and since they're monopolizing and they pretty much own almost everything, they have the freedom to choose their prices, and they're very expensive. And kind of like if you want to buy something from Disney or visit Disneyland or whatever, you have to expect that the price is going to be very pricey.
Okay, so but that could be a good thing because Disney can command a premium price on their products, right? I mean, as far as they're concerned internally, that might be a good thing. Maybe externally for the consumers, that may not be a good thing. Okay, yeah, Alexandria, right now, the COVID definitely has affected them, but it's also affected 99.9% of the whole world. So that's companies that are set up to do things like Amazon, Zoom, and all those are obviously taking advantage of all this great stuff. But companies like Disneyland are not. That they obviously they can't, but they can on their streaming. Look at how much money they've made on their streaming services so far. So they kind of not take advantage, but they kind of took the opportunities that were there to create a competitive advantage. I mean, you can't, Disney's pulling off all of their stuff right now from all the different areas. So you're not going to get as many things on Netflix, Amazon, and all that other stuff because they're streaming all their own content. So, okay, good. Any other questions? Any other comments? Balance between generations. Disney has always been very, very good about catering to all different types of generations. But they, obviously, the Nick and some of these other, or not Nick, some of these other Disney channels they don't appeal to all different generations. But, places like the theme parks, some of the movies, they do. Okay. And technology cost. Obviously the cost of technology and the way Disney is keeping up on what they have to do to create new technology and implement it is obviously a weakness and a cost to them. Okay, so some opportunities. So new markets, especially the Asian markets, huge potential there. Disney Japan, we'll talk about that a little bit. India, other countries with huge populations, much higher than the United States. New characters, so there's always the opportunity, the next new character, the latest and greatest. Okay, so threats. So competition we talked about with their theme parks, not as much, but with their media and entertainment, more so. Technology. Who is it? Pixar has some great technology, and some of these other companies. Costs, growing too big. Somebody mentioned that in the chat. Yes, you can get too big. Like, for example, Heineken, we talked about in the beer industry, over 200 different brands that they represent. They saturated every market that they go into and throughout the whole world. Okay, and global control, global dominance. Don't we love that? All right, so Disney's very VIO. So is it valuable? Yes. Is it rare? Yes. Nobody can imitate it, right? Has anybody been able to imitate Disney? They've tried with the movies. Some of them come close. Theme park, nothing even comes close to them. Imitable and organized. Disney, if anything, is very organized. All right, so Disney meets all of those, so that's why they can sustain a competitive advantage. So we're going to talk about Disney's value chain. We talked a little bit about the value chain of Cobra Beer Monday. So it is important for the Disney company to base its competitive advantage on activities in which it has access to rare or scarce resources. Intellectual capital, assets, skills, or distribution network. For training for Disney, I'm sure there's somebody here who's actually worked for Disney. Who has actually worked for Disney? Every class, I always have a couple of people who've actually worked for Disney. All right, if you don't want to talk, that's fine. But they can attest to this, the training that Disney provides, no matter if you are the person running the rides or just working in the cafeteria or food service, the training is impeccable. It goes, it's like one of the best in the world. So the primary value chain activities of the Walt Disney Company are directly involved in producing and selling the product to targeted customers. So these are the primary activities: inbound logistics. So everything from raw materials to build the rides, the steel, the metal, to hot dogs, to putting the hot dogs on the bun, operations, outbound logistics, sales and marketing, and the service that goes far beyond everything else. Okay. So inbound logistics, important to develop strong relationship with suppliers. Disney has a huge network of vendors. I've sold to Disney. I've done business with them. Not the easiest company in the world to do business with, but once you do business with them, they are very, very loyal if you treat them well. Okay, some examples of inbound logistics are retrieving raw materials, storing the inputs, internally distributing the raw materials, components to do the production. So when Disney's building rides, when they are, even from the little hot dog place. So that's everything from inbound logistics. The importance of analyzing operational activity raises when raw materials arrive. The Walt Disney Company is ready to process the raw materials and launch it into the market. Okay, so that's what the operations do, is what needs to be done from taking raw materials into delivering them to the end user. Examples are equipment repair. I had a technician that worked for me for a couple of years. He used to work at Disneyland. All he did was fix the POS systems, point of purchase. So all he would do is go around the whole park all day long, fixing the cash registers. He hated that job. Including the activities that deliver the outbound logistics is including the activities that deliver the product to the customer by passing through different intermediaries, warehousing, scheduling, order processing, transportation, delivery to the destination. So all of these things are example of the outbound logistics with Disneyland. When outbound activities are timely managed with optimal costs, productivity, delivery processes put a minimum negative effect on the quality. So you can maximize, once you're getting very good at these primary activities, it becomes a competitive advantage. Okay, so example of marketing and sales, highlight the benefits, different points of offered products to persuade the customers that it's offering it's better than competitors. So what is an annual pass before all this happened? It was like $1,000. I think they took payments on it. So you could finance your annual pass over the whole year for $1,000. Isn't that ridiculous? Example of the Walt Disney Company's marketing and sales activities are sales force, advertising, promotional activities, pricing, channel selection, quoting, and building relations with channel members. Okay, so the service that follows, offered by the Walt Disney Company, play an important role in developing customer loyalty. So what are some examples of what Disney does after you get to the park? Mark, you look like you want to say something.
I'm trying to process the question, sorry.
So what are some of the examples that Disney does that no other company does in the theme parks?
You can't take food in.
Yeah, they won't let you take any food in. But don't they have great food there, though?
It's pretty pricey,
Yeah,
isn't a beer like $15 or upwards?
It's very pricey. So it didn't used to be so expensive. When my children were very young, I always bought annual passes for everybody. It was $200 for the premium pass back then. So my wife would get the premium pass, my kids would get the next one down or whatever. But they would have a meal there, and it wasn't that expensive. But it's gotten a little bit expensive. Alexandra Rojos, go ahead.
They actually do let you take food in. That's like one of the only parks that I was allowed to like not spend a lot of money in. Like Knott's, for instance, they make you throw away your whole like lunch or whatever. But Disney does let you take food in. They just check your drinks. Yeah,
I think a Diet Coke is like $6 or something or a Coke is like $6 a bottle. Okay.
Darth Vader double cheeseburger. That sounds forcibly deadly.
Yeah, it's a heart attack waiting to happen. So what other things does Disney do that's part of their service that nobody else does?
I'm sorry, I have something.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that they have like characters, like people, like actors dressed as characters walk around the park, and like photographers taking pictures of like people who walk in too, and like people with the characters as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Eric, you had something?
Yes. Something I noticed that I recently found out is about their extensive training program that they have no matter what employee you are. So for the janitors or the people cleaning, they're not supposed to be talking quite that much, and they're supposed to say only like specific lines just because they want to make the whole idea magical and kind of make that illusion that they're janitors working more like away from their primary image that they're trying to portray. And then at restaurants, I recently found this out that they're trained to accept any kind of bill, like money bill, even if it looks fake, because they don't want to have any confrontational experience with the customers, like trying to make them feel like they don't trust their money or whatever. So even if they think it's fake, they're supposed to just accept it and just move on. So I thought that was interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of that. Yeah, it's funny. Um, Quite a few years ago, when myself and my children were there, somebody was doing some shoplifting, and the wall opened up. They grabbed the guy, and my kids were like totally freaked out. They thought it was like the greatest thing in the world that the wall opened up. They grabbed some guy, and the wall closed up again. So they're very discreet about how they handle things. They obviously they won't tolerate a lot of things, but some things, like I guess with the money thing, I never heard that, but yeah, things like that they will tolerate. So it's the happiest place on the earth. On Earth, they want to kind of keep that type of atmosphere, that culture, and that's one thing Disney is very, very good at is the culture. Okay, let's look at some of the chats. Yes, they do the reserve and space in line. Go ahead. You raise your hand again, Alejandria.
Oh, I was gonna say you can go to like town hall and you can get like pins, like badges or something, and you can like for your birthday, everybody in the park will greet you or say happy birthday, or like even the characters will really interact if you had like a happy birthday badge, or even like and they have like anniversary ones, or this is my first time being at the park, especially the first time ones. You will get like more interacted with a lot of people, like especially like if you're in the line and then like one of those like oh my god, those people that like are at the rides and they like talk and stuff and then they tell you how to sit or whatever, they will really interact with you and make your day like special.
Really snuff it up, basically. Did he disconnect by accident?
What happened?
Okay, well, looks like he's gone.
We're still live on YouTube.
I think Disneyland
Yeah.
heard him.
Okay. Well, it says Rand is in charge now. Okay. Want to sabotage the stream?
Hey, Dennis.
Let's not sabotage the stream.
That is interesting. Never seen that happen before.
Well, we'll hang tight then, I suppose.
Mm.
I have not been to Disneyland in like 5 years. I don't know what it's like over there.
I texted him, so hopefully he's seen that. All right, he told me his internet went down.
All right. So just to clarify, Dennis, while we're here, Dennis.
Uh-huh.
Oh, we can be in a group with people from different discussion sections, but not different lectures. Is that right?
Yeah, so you could be in groups with people from other sections, so like the 21 and 22, but not people from the afternoon lecture, as I understand it.
Okay. Just clearing that up.
For the group sheet the professor was talking about, he put it earlier in the chat, but I also put an announcement on the main class page. It's just an Excel sheet where you could list all of your names.
All right, cool.
All right. In the meantime, I just asked him if I should end class or just continue on with whatever slides he had left. So yeah. In the meantime, if anyone has any questions or comments, feel free to talk about your thoughts. I don't know. Yes, discussion is due this Friday, so that's going to be the like forum.
Thank you.
Okay. He says, "Give me 5 minutes." So yeah. So the penalty for submitting late assignments, typically it's going to be like around like a quarter point for every day, unless you like say email me.
Is that for any assignment we do?
Yeah, so yeah, for like the mini cases and mini quiz and yeah.
All right, good to know.
Mm-hmm.
I will now calculate how late I can turn in my stuff.
Just it's easiest though to just like please turn in your stuff on time, but like when stuff happens, like I can make exceptions here and there based on the circumstance, but just please don't make it a habit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and for anyone not knowing what we're talking about, you just go to discussions on the main class page and you'll be able to see the discussion board. Yeah, and if you don't have a group, we'll either put you in one, or you could just kind of see what groups don't have the like people that like aren't at the cap of 10 people, and you could just kind of add yourself. And happy birthday, Scott.
He's back.
Thank you. Thank you.
I thought we were talking about the bear for a second.
Oh, okay, and the professor seems to be back.
I am back. Hello.
Hey,
My internet went down. I don't know what happened. I live out in the middle of the suburbs. It shouldn't happen, you know? All right. So, okay, so I'm catching up on the chat. Happy birthday, happy birthday. All righty then. And then thank you for my patience and for your patience. Let's get back to where we were. So we were talking about the value chain of Disney. So we spoke about we were talking about service, and you guys are giving some great examples. Awesome. So as in the value chain, we're talking about the primary activities. Now we're going to talk about support activities. So that's where you get into the HR, the technology, procurement, administrative, finance, and all that other good stuff. Okay, so by now you guys, because we've done this for 2 days, you should know the difference between primary activities, secondary activities, and how they relate to a company. And then we also talked about how manufacturing is much different than a service type industry, and that every single industry is unique in a little in certain ways, and every single industry is alike in certain ways. Okay, so you guys all get that concept, right? Shake your head yes, shake your head no. If you need me to explain a little bit more about that, stay after class and I'll talk more about that. So support activities play an important role in coordinating, facilitating the primary value chain activities. So the firm infrastructure, HR, IT, procurement, and this is kind of a list of all the different types of things that Disney support activities do. It's all over the board because Disney they do everything from manufacturing, which is actually building the rides, to service, to the little red hot dog, corn dog on a stick stand right there in the park. Okay, so everything, Disney runs the whole gamut. So they do almost everything. So there's their service, their manufacturing, there are all kinds of structure. So the infrastructure, the firms denotes a range of activities such as quality management, legal, accounting, finance, planning, strategic management. The Walt Disney Company emphasizes the value of the whole value chain. Like I just said, they do almost everything. HR, they have one of the best human resources type of development, and they actually do consulting for other companies on their HR. They actually send some of their people out to different type of companies. They'll pay them and say, hey, help us do that. How many times have you guys wished that when parking in certain places, like going to an event or a venue, you wish that the Disney people were directing you because the parking is so bad. Okay, effective HR management can allow the Walt Disney Company to reduce competitive pressures based on motivation, commitment, skills of the workforce. Okay, so cost minimization of objectives by analyzing hiring and training costs. Like I said, Disney is one of the best HR companies in the world. The technology integrated in production, distribution, marketing, and human resources. So they have everything from state-of-the-art development of their movies, to the distribution centers, to their rides. So the technology development that Disney does is in everything that they do. Automotive software, back in the day when the little moving men in the Pirates of the Caribbean, that was state-of-the-art technology back then when they built that. Now we kind of look at it, kind of saying, it's kind of cool, but it's not state of the art. Procurement, everything from buying hot dogs to buying. I think I'm gonna have to have hot dog for lunch today. I keep saying hot dogs. So everything from buying hot dogs to raw materials, the metal, the steel, and buying that they buy for the making of the rides. Okay, so your book talks about the Diamond Advantage, company Diamond tool for assessing competitive advantage, which is also very similar to the SWOT analysis. So what is a company good at? What activities create value for the customers? So obviously Disney is good at providing entertainment, and it's the happiest place on the in the world. What resources and capabilities drives those activities? How difficult is it to imitate? So it's very similar between a SWOT and a VRIO. Okay, your book talks a lot more about this. And what ways is the organization designed to capture the value created? What priorities, values, and support and sustains resource and capabilities? How committed is the company to these priorities and values? So using the diamond type thing is be an excellent example of using it for your final project that you're going to be doing. So your book has this model, Walmart versus Nordstrom's, how the diamond model for strengths. So each company has their own strength. Obviously, Walmart and Nordstrom's don't compete directly against each other, but this is how their strengths are when it comes to their categories and when it comes to their customers. Okay, so obviously, we always like to pay a low price at Nordstrom's, but that's not always that's not why we go there. In-store merchandising. It's funny, I bought a couple of shirts online and I went to go back to Riverside to return them when actually the store was open. And the guy who helped me had been there for 25 years. And I remembered him, and that's one of the things that Nordstrom's does is employee retention, one of the big things they're doing. So competitive advantage, here at the bottom, rare, imitable, organized to exploit, yes, 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 and all yes. So these are why Walmart and Nordstrom's are very, very successful. We'll see how Nordstrom's fares after all this COVID-19 stuff. I hope they come out. Okay, and this is another example. Sears is no longer in business. I know somebody wanted to talk about Sears, about competitive advantage, but Sears is no longer in business, as everybody knows. But what Sears Holding does is own billions of dollars of real estate. So Sears is still an entity, and they are turning all those real estate, all that property that they own, into condos and all kinds of different things. Okay, company diamond for Disney, an example. And what is Disney good at? So let's see if we can get Eric in his car.
Disney is really good at marketing themselves and positioning themselves in a comfortable place where they don't really have to worry too much about other competitors, because they have this almost like this super high complexity that everyone loves and everyone really wants to come back to every single time, no matter how many times they go to Disneyland. People really don't get sick of it. The magic is always there, and yeah.
Excellent. Very good. Yes, that's a great example, Eric. Thank you. Yes, Disney's good at also merchandising. Let's see, law. What do you mean by law, Tim?
That is for the support services. I was trying to say they have good attorney to determine to tell them what they can do, what they can't do. That was from the last question. Now this one.
Okay. Actually, Disney's. I've actually put a couple of machines into their the law firm that the in-house law, because Disney uses different law firms, but their in-house law department is huge. They always have something going on. So yeah. Okay. Disney always has a really good story to tell. Actually, very good. Yeah, they do. They give a good experience, not just on Christmas or holidays, but yeah, all year long. That's an excellent point. Yes, they are good at positioning self in the consumer's mind. Look at all these movies. So each movie, Disney builds a whole culture around, right? Merchandising, everything. So customer service, yeah, they're pretty good at customer service.
They're good at acquiring a bunch of other different companies, buying them out basically.
Yeah, but kind of all in the same type of industry. But yeah. Somebody said architecture, the castles. Not just the castles, but architecture in general, right? Each park has its own castle, but that's, Disney's kind of trademark. But the architecture in these parks are world renowned. Draining a swamp in Florida to build a park, that is an engineering feat that nobody's even ever attempted. That's something that is like, almost impossible, that they said that would never happen. All right. So competitive advantage, popular and strong brand, growing portfolio of popular products. Weaknesses, limited diversification. Disney is in entertaining you. That's all they're in. They're not in manufacturing refrigerators. They're not in building cars. They're not in, how some of these other companies diversify. Disney's not very diversified. They're in the entertainment business, and that's what they're good at. They stick to it. So they do a very good job at that. Limited expansion of amusement parks so far. We told the story how they opened up in Japan. They don't always have all the resources to go into another company and open up an amusement park. They may have the money. Disney Sea, yeah, actually Disney Sea. So, all right, things Disney does to compete. So they make movies, right? They make animations. Rides, shows, entertainment, food, and if you ever go to Disney, you've been to Disneyland, it is the cleanest park you'll ever go to. They sanitize, clean that thing 24/7. They literally, when it shuts down, a whole new crew comes in and cleans everything top to bottom, and they clean all day long while people are in the park. And the Disney attitude, like I said, the culture is something unique that nobody can copy. And meet the characters. Everybody loves to meet their favorite characters. All right. So first mover advantage is something that is resource and capabilities. Disneyland was the first mover in this field. I don't think anybody's ever going to be able to compete with them. They have the best engineers in the world, as I talked about in the Disney Florida. They built a huge theme park and entertainment center in the middle of a swamp. Okay, Disney operations is world renowned. Management is world renowned. And this is a picture of them constructing the Disney in Florida. Okay, so the capabilities, happiest place on earth, employee training, it's characters. Okay, so all of these are unique capabilities that nobody else can copy or imitate, and the experience. All right, I was going to do another assignment, but we're going to skip that for today since we were having some kind of technical difficulties. All right. Any questions about chapter 3 before we talk about your group project? So everybody understands all of the wonderful things about Disney and how it relates to the subjects that we talk about in your book. Yes, good. All right. So your group project. So by the end of this week, we'll have all our groups will be finalized, and then you guys can start thinking about what you're going to do as a project. I do suggest that you start on this earlier than later. It's not that big of a project, especially with 9-10 people working on it. but with logistics and all the other stuff going on, it's going to take you guys, a few weeks to get organized and up to speed. Okay. So the deliverables, what I want you is you're a consulting team. I am the CEO who hired you to do consulting for me. Your immediate assignment is to figure out how to increase revenue within the next 12 months so CCC can report a net gain instead of another loss next year. Your second goal is to create a sustainable midterm solution that will generate revenue for the next 5 years and beyond. And your bonus solution is that you have a long-term solution will withstand the test of time. So all of this is on your syllabus. All right. So some people in previous classes wanted to do 3 different subjects or 3 different products. I think that's kind of too much to do. I mean, if you want to do it, go ahead. You want to do all that work, that's fine. Me, I'm kind of lazy. I'd stick to 1 or 2 products. But you can do 3 or 4 or however many you want. But the problem is you're going to need to analyze the industry. You're going to need to do all of these different types of solutions, and you're going to have to present them. So you might not want to do that many products, maybe 1 or 2 at the most. Well, you definitely have to do 1, but 2 maybe. But you don't want to do 3 or 4. Okay, so written report, 50 pages, outline the issues, does not include cover page, title page, or reference page. Single space, Times New Roman 12 font, executive summary, business format. So many of you will fail the executive summary because everybody does. I don't know how to make it as easy. I try to explain it, and I put up a couple of things, and I even actually go over a little bit of it, but still everybody still has a hard time with the executive summary, and that's something that actually you need to practice, and it's something that you need to develop as a skill. But I'm very lenient when it comes to grading it, so don't worry about it too much. But I do actually want you to try very, very hard to get it correct, because an executive summary is basically tells the reader everything they should know about the report before they either hand it off to another executive or before they read what exactly they want out of there. So the executive summary is the first couple of paragraphs will tell the executive reading it whether they want to do it or not. So it's a kind of a difficult concept for a lot of you guys, but some of them get it, some of you get it, some of you won't. But as I said, I grade kind of easy on it, so don't worry about it too much. Analyzing the alternatives, making recommendations. So I'm hiring you to make a recommendation for me to do take a course of action to save the company. So that is your main objective. Describe your steps your team followed to undertake complete analysis of the case. And yes, you will have to do some research. Okay, the deliverables, formatting of the paper, directions, make sure you do everything correctly. Timeline, specify measurable, achievable, realistically, and timely. I want, if your project's not realistic, it's not going to work, okay? Does the firm have a clear, defined strategy will create a competitive advantage? So can you recommend a strategy that's going to give me a competitive advantage in order to enter into a new industry, to make new products? Let's say strategic case analysis. So how well did you do your research? So these are the different types of forms for your research. So everything from a pastel, which we'll go over here shortly, to Porter's 5 forces, VRIO, all the other good stuff that we're learning.